Greetings. My name is Jeff.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Tom.
And we are three old Reds fans. And we are here sitting around a coffee table in my living room on a rainy Saturday morning doing our first episode of the Three Old Reds Fans podcast. How did we get started doing this? Because we talk about the Reds all the time. We text about it. We sit and watch games and text, and we talk about it. You'd think we'd have better things to do with our life, but apparently we don't. So, anyway, Kim, how long have you been a Reds fan?
I've been a Reds fan for approximately 47, 48 years.
Okay. And then you didn't even grow up in Ohio?
No, I was a little boy in South Carolina, and I was a Cub Scout. The only year I was a scout. We didn't play football enough, so I quit after 1 year. And the Scouts had a magazine. Y'all may remember. It was called Boys Life.
Yeah.
And on the cover of Boys Life, there's this Reds player looking up, and he's got a face mask in his right hand, and he's looking up, obviously a foul ball, and it was Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
And I read the article on Johnny Bench and the Reds, and ever since, and this little boy in South Carolina, so back then your option was probably the Atlanta Braves, who back then were incredibly bad.
Yeah.
And so I liked Cincinnati. That was my team.
That's good.
I can respect that as a guy not from Ohio.
Yeah, he made a good choice. I remember having a Boys Life magazine. I think it had Dave Concepcion on the cover.
Well, back in the 70s, man.
I don't remember the bench one. So, and Tom, he comes by it pretty honestly.
Yeah, I grew up, born and raised in Cincinnati. Remember going to Riverfront as a kid, watching the Big Red Machine in the 70s.
Yeah.
Did you go to Crosley?
No, never went to Crosley. And in fact, I can remember one of my earliest memories of going to a game was a packed Riverfront to see the Reds playing the Dodgers, because that was a rival, remember, in the West.
In L West.
And they packed out the stadium for a regular season game. That doesn't happen anymore.
Not much. Opening day, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I grew up in the Dayton area, so Reds were always the team, and I used to go to games all the time. I actually went to Crosley once when I was probably 5 years old. Don't remember it, but they tell me I was there once.
That's cool.
So,
What, was it 70 or 72 when they switched over?
Well, 70s when it opened, because
70.
they
Had
had
the Rose, Ray Fosse.
Yeah,
the All-Star game there, and it didn't open. It wasn't open opening day.
No.
I didn't know that.
They moved in like a month later or something like that.
So trivia, I went to the last game ever at Riverfront.
Oh.
Brought my whole family. And I don't know if you remember that year, they tore the whole left field stands out to make room for Great American. So I brought the whole family. We were excited. It was the days of Ken Griffey Jr. being there.
Yeah.
And guess what? Griffey didn't show up the last game of the season. He wasn't even in the stadium. He went home, which kind of got me ticked off because, my son came to watch him and wasn't even in the stadium.
Was that Synergy Field then?
Probably.
Synergy Field.
Yes, that's right.
And then they have partial AstroTurf and partial grass towards
No,
the end.
actually, Barry Larkin said I wanted the turf, regular grass, so bad he was willing to pay for it himself. Before the season, obviously he didn't, and they put in grass. But so they had grass at least the last year. I don't know.
Yeah, near the end. So, well, cool. So that's our history as Reds fans a little bit. So what about these guys right now? We were so excited, even though we knew better, and now
we were very excited.
Now they are who we thought they were, right?
Well,
they're in last place today, and
today is April 29th.
Yes.
So they lasted almost a month.
Yeah.
Almost.
Hey, they're only 2.5 games out, guys.
Yeah, that makes me that brings hope.
That's right.
So, they're going to have some good up times, down times, and so forth. I mean, that's going to happen, but
got a tough schedule coming up too to be able to make up that 2.5. They got the Giants and the Yankees coming up.
The Giants are struggling.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Giants have been struggling.
They'll probably get hot. That's probably what will happen.
Right before they come
in.
Yeah, you're right. The Giants are
Yankees
9-15.
Yeah.
Yankees have pulled out a big one last night.
So the other day I texted. I said we were discussing whatever we were discussing about the Reds, and I said, "Hey, how many games is this team going to win this year?" And I waited for you guys to answer. So what was your answer, Kim?
My answer was 70 to 76.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all said in the 70s.
And you were?
Somewhere in the 70s.
I said 78's the number that stuck in my head, maybe 77. So, yeah, anything over that would be kind of gravy at this point. I mean, with all the issues they've had and so forth. So
what do you think about Brian Price? What kind of job do you think he's doing with this young team? I mean, what a hand he's been dealt, huh?
Well, I mean, it's hard. I mean, I think there's a lot of. I'm guessing, he's the field manager, but I have to believe that him and Dick Williams and all these other guys in the front office have really. I feel they came up with a game plan, a battle plan for this season, batting lineup, pitching, what to do with guys, where to play them, how long to give them.
So you think it's all scripted?
So I think there's a lot of scripting. That's just what I think. What's the biggest thing you've been arguing about in the last week in the batting order?
Why is Cozart not hitting second?
Right. And he did yesterday.
But was that because Mesoraco came back?
I don't know.
We'll see today, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll go back to your question. Your original question just now.
Yeah.
What do we think of Price? The last year they made the playoffs, right around then, I am convinced that if Price were the manager instead of Dusty Baker, the Reds would have won at least one series.
Let it go.
I can't.
He's a Dusty hater.
No, I wasn't a Dusty hater. But I just vividly remember Ryan Ludwig coming up in a crucial time, 1 out, runner on first, outside pitch, ground ball to short, double play, constantly. Granted, when Votto went down, I think this was 2012, when Votto went down with that knee injury, Ludwig played phenomenally. I think he finished with like 25 homers and 79 ribbies.
Yeah.
But that was the only time he played well. And when Billy came up, Dusty only used him strictly in a pinch running role. The next year, I think Dusty was gone. Price was the manager. I'm convinced if Dusty would have been the manager, Billy would have been in minor league ball. And the thing I have liked about Price, and he has been dealt with an incredibly bad team, he will make changes and won't think twice about it. We're talking about the batting order. Other than he and Madden from Chicago, he'll bat Billy. Last year, a good 3 months, Billy batted ninth after the pitcher.
I like he's willing to do that.
He would shuffle guys back and forth. Votto would be anywhere from 2 to 3, maybe 4. Jay Bruce, when he was with the Reds, if he was hot, 3 or 4. When he wasn't, you'd get down to 7. Our second baseman, who's no longer with us, Brandon Phillips, same thing. He showed, I am going to try to do something to make changes. I like Price. I would like to see Price at the helm with a good team. Mm-hmm. My humble thoughts.
He's a baseball guy, right? I mean, he's came through
so.
minor league.
I hope so.
You know what I mean?
He's managing a major league team.
Well, what I mean by that is Dusty Baker was a player that became a coach, but Price has just been up through the ranks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dusty had a lot of success. He had a lot of good
did.
players. He had some good players at times and so forth. And he had a lot of success, but
as a manager and as a player.
In Major League Baseball, or even in any pro sport, the honeymoon is pretty short for a coach, and you get hired, you get fired, right? So I mean, it happens. I think the test will be when Price has a healthy, decent starting 5, and they figured out and a good top of the order, because right now the top of the order is just bleh. I mean, Billy doesn't. Last night we're watching the game. And Billy, they had
eighth inning.
They had
runners on first and second,
2 outs.
You just scored 4 runs. You're making it a game.
And
here
comes Billy.
Was it a new reliever comes in?
I don't know, but Billy gets up and
first pitch.
Kim texts, "We need Billy to do something here, whatever." And I said, "He'll probably pop up." And like 10 seconds later, boom, there it goes.
The thing is, if you get a choice, you want him to pound the ball on the ground. And
he knows that. He's been doing it last year. At the end of last year, he was really working on that, getting on base. Obviously, right now he's slumping, but
the Omar Marino. That's you want him to hit.
I think if maybe
Vince Coleman.
Maybe I think there was something to my theory about the script, but probably at some point the scripts are, you got to revise scripts, right?
It's fluid, yes.
It has to be fluid to some point. So maybe they've been waiting on Mesoraco to come back. So they felt like they had somebody who could hit in the bottom of the order. Cozart will move up. And maybe it's time to move Peraza down and say, we're going to move you down here, take a little pressure off. Mm-hmm. Which, that works at times, but, long term, is what matters. I mean, that's what this season's about, to see if Peraza can. I mean, they give up a lot for him. You think some of the guys in the lineup that are playing that you're not sure whether they should be, or are they the answer? And Peraza and Schebler and guys like that, they're in these lineups, and they came in trades, and so you gave up something for them, and you got to really be sure. You can't just quickly dismiss them.
Yeah, how much is enough?
Well, I don't know. Willie Mays went 0 for 26, and then did what he did to start his career. Not that any of these guys are Willie Mays by any stretch, but that's the.
I would think one season is enough of a test.
Can be.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to play your best. You don't have to be a great player that first season, but you got to show. And I think that's where, Peraza was pretty good the second half last year.
You talk about, okay, you mentioned Jeff. Okay, we're going to get you out of this spot in the lineup, get you down here, take the pressure off. The bench is a great motivator, right?
Oh,
if you're an athlete and you play, the bench is a great motivator. Also, your spot in the lineup is a great motivator.
Yeah. If
you've been a 1 or 2 guy and all of a sudden you move down to the 7, you've been demoted. If you're any kind of an athlete who's a competitor, you've been demoted. And I think last year, I can vividly remember when Billy came back from the 9 spot to the leadoff spot. Remember who was leading off last year?
Brandon for a while.
And who else? Zach.
Yeah.
Because Zach, I remember reading, Zach said, I was just holding his spot until he came back. And that little comment right there is just telling you, we recognize we want to be in a spot. We want to be, you even said last night in the text, Tom, who are your best 3 hitters? Where should they hit? Up top of the lineup. And I'm hoping that with Peraza moving down, or whoever moves down, it gets their attention. Getting benched, getting moved, gets your attention, it gets you focused, and it gets you to do the little things, the discipline that you need to do. Billy popping up is without excuse.
See, and that's my point on your best 3 hitters being the first 3 hitters. It happened last night. Crucial part of the game, right? Come back in process.
Mm-hmm.
He steps up, and he's not one of our best. Would you rather have Cozart, Votto, or Billy up?
Well, not Billy at this point.
Not Billy at this point.
Well, not especially when I'd be interested to know what Billy's stats are with runners on base versus bases empty, but probably not much better because he's been leading off and not doing much. But yeah, you would. You'd rather have guys like that.
Who's the third best hitter we have? Is it Suarez?
Right now? Right now, maybe Votto.
Third best?
Well, just strictly looking at average.
Living in the moment, yeah, but long term, Votto's your best hitter.
Yeah.
Cozart's a top 4 guy on this team the way he's been showing.
I would say Suarez.
Suarez could be, maybe. And then, the jury obviously is out on Duvall a little bit because of how he finished last year, and Schebler hasn't had a full season yet to really know. So we don't know.
Let's talk about Schebler. Schebler always comes up.
What are your thoughts on Schebler?
I love Shebs.
Why do you love him?
Well, I think.
No. You talked to him. Let's be honest.
I met the guy.
Give the story.
I met the guy. Yeah, I do some freelance writing for the Dayton Daily News, and I got to interview him at the Reds Caravan. He was very nice and gracious to me, and we had done the interviews in the back of the Air Force Museum. I'd done some stuff, and then I still needed to talk to him, and it was time to walk up to where they were going to do their big caravan deal, the big show. And I said, hey, can I talk to you while we walk? Yeah, that's fine. So we walked, and we got there, and he stopped and was going to finish answering a question when they got there. And, of course, one of the Reds, media relations people grabbed him and said, he's got to go. He's got to get up here now. Like I was creating some kind of controversy.
Did he have his mouthpiece when you were interviewing? No. I was wondering if he had it in and out of his mouth.
He was not in...
He's trying to do the curry thing.
He was not in uniform. Okay? But... No, he was a nice guy. But, hey, he's a Red. I'm rooting for him. I want him to do well.
Aside from your personal relationship, I'm not on the field.
I think it's too early to say he's the answer, and it's too early to say he's not. So right now, since in recent days, he's as good a hitter as they got.
Where did he finish
In
last
recent
year?
days, you're talking like 2 games, Jeff.
No,
about 4 or 5. I'd say 4.
So this is interesting from Red Leg Nation. It says his walk rate is an excellent 9%. Which, I guess that's excellent, 9%.
9.3, it is, here I'm looking on.
And to put that number into perspective, the only one hitter in baseball, David Ortiz, had an ISO above 278 last year. Schebler's ISO, which is Isolated Power Index, is 351.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Isolated Power.
It means when he hits.
The game's been postponed today. Guys. Yeah.
All right. Well, we won't lose.
No.
Postponed indefinitely?
No, postponed.
Oh, postponed.
Postponed. I mean, as in, like they called it off for the whole.
Yes.
Not in just in a delay. So postpone me. Oh, I'm just kidding.
They're not playing today.
They're not playing today.
Does that help?
At all.
At all.
Wow.
Well,
that's unusual.
right now,
That's early.
walk percentage on the team. Like how many percent? Is that what you're talking about? How much percentage they walk?
Yeah.
Of the starters, the guys that have been playing, Cozart 16%, 16.3, Suarez 11.2, Votto 11.1, Schebler 9.3, Duvall 6.6, Barnhart, Hamilton all in the 6s, and Peraza 2.2. That's Peraza.
So who'd you say was first for walks?
Jeanette only walks.
Cozart.
And Jeanette only walks 2%.
He was hitting 7th in the order.
Yeah.
Probably they went, go ahead, we'll get to the 8th
You
batter.
texted the other night, lost at bats.
His on base percentage is, he's on base at 475 right now, which is not going to hold. I mean, he's not going to finish that high, but he's still going to have a good on base percentage by the end of the year.
Okay, so let's talk about Votto. Votto always has been highest on base percentage, always highest in walks.
Here's one thing to look at. I mean, Votto's hitting 247 right now. His on base is 333. So it's roughly 90 points higher, almost 90 points higher. Cozart is 90-some points higher on base to batting average. Suarez is about 80.
What's Shebs?
Schebler is about 80% difference. So I think the reason I make that point is, as the batting average goes up, the on base is going to go up, and probably far enough into the season to kind of see what that gap's going to be, and that's a pretty decent gap. Whereas a Peraza, he's batting 227 and his on base is 261.
Ugh.
Billy is 211 and 258. I mean, so that's the problem.
258.
Ever since we decided Drew Stubbs was the answer, we haven't had a good leadoff hitter. Or we've had guys we put in there who really should have been hitting in other spots.
Who's the last really good leadoff hitter the Reds have had?
I don't know.
Was it Bip?
Maybe Bibb.
When they went wire to wire, who was the leadoff?
Good question.
Because Barry was third, right?
You had Eric Davis, probably would have been fourth.
Davis batted fourth. Hatcher was on that team.
Billy Hatcher was probably our leadoff
second
guy. I think Hatcher was
really?
the leadoff guy a lot.
I know we'd have to look that up. We don't. I can.
Wasn't Herm Winningham?
No, he didn't start.
There had to be some. I don't think you can win a championship without a good leadoff batter.
Yeah.
They don't have to be great, right? But they need to get on base.
They can just get on base.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I love Shebs, and we're going to see what happens with that.
Schebler will be a topic on every podcast.
I'm not ready to. You don't give up on that guy. It's way too soon. I'm not saying he's the answer, but I think he could be a really good productive hitter, and I think.
All right, quantify really good productive hitter. Quantify that. Give me an average to start with.
A batting average?
Yeah.
I think anybody that hits over 250 and then does a lot of other things can be a super help to a batting.
What's a lot of other things, like a lot of RBIs?
Well, guys who hit
productive.
Extra base hits. Extra base hits are huge, and getting on base, slugging, and on base and stuff. I think matters, and batting average matters, but really, even it's what you do with it, and strike out and not striking out too much. I
think you want your right fielder in the middle of the lineup, though, right? You want him 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe not, maybe 4, 5, 6.
Might have been Duncan. He might have been the leadoff.
Mariano Duncan.
I'm looking at their
Hatcher Duncan. I think Hatcher was
Oliver was the main catcher. Benzinger played
first,
most of the first base. Duncan was at second. Larkin at short. Sabo
third.
Hatcher, Davis, and O'Neill in the outfield. Hal Morris played in 107 games that year as well. Glenn Braggs played in 72 games. So I think Duncan batted a lot of leadoff that year, as I recall. So that's just, but I'm not.
Does it have his average?
Duncan batted 306 that year.
Wow.
His on base was 345.
There you go. If he was there.
His OPS was 821, which is really strong for a leadoff hitter. I mean, he had 10 home runs. So, that team was interesting because there were no 30 home run guys on that team. Sabo hit 25. Davis only hit 24. Davis only played 127 games. Of course, he's always hurt somewhere along the line. And O'Neill hit 16, but that was before they.
He wasn't every day.
Yeah, he played 145 games that year.
But didn't he platoon with Braggs?
He had 564 at bats. Played 503 at bats, and Braggs had 201. So he played most of the time. So, but we also remember the postseason vividly, and Braggs played pretty well in the postseason.
Braggs
he caught that one ball against the wall
in right field because the Reds ended up. The pitching was phenomenal that game.
Yeah.
And he, with his back up against the wall, and that wall moved when he hit it, but right on the wall. It's a good catch.
Yeah. So that lineup was certainly better than the one we have now. But
all right, so the jury's still out on Schebler.
Sure. I think it's out on a lot of guys on this team. It's out on Hamilton. It's out on Peraza. It's out on Duvall. It's out on Schebler.
Okay.
I think Suarez is legit.
We need a very good, productive year from Suarez. When he first came over in the Simon trade, and he played. Remember where he played mostly that year? Shortstop.
Yeah.
And none of us knew who he was or anything.
Right.
But here's what I do remember: Jimmy Leland advised. He was a special counsel. He advised, do not trade Suarez. Do not trade. And so that told me enough right there. I like this guy.
Yeah.
And he came in and he batted really well, played very decent at shortstop. Last year was a letdown. We need him to hit no lower than 280, hit about 20 to 25 home runs, have a good slugging percentage. And if we can do that and have production like we are right now from Cozart, and when I say Cozart, if Cozart can hit 280, I'm happy because I can remember 3+ years ago, he and Jay Bruce were the kings of swinging at that breaking pitch coming in at your ankles and striking out. And I can remember saying, if Cozart would hit 260, I would be happy. And look where he is 3 years later.
Yeah, he's adjusted.
He's adjusted. He's
tremendously. And Jay Bruce adjusted a little bit, too.
Yeah, not as much.
No, but he started going the opposite way a little bit. He did try doing some things. How could he not when you see Votto doing it successfully?
Right.
You
it can be done.
You're groomed and grown up as a power hitter, and it's hard to get out of that, and so that's why guys that weren't groomed and grown up that way, when you get to the big leagues, we need a little power out of you, and so they have to make some adjustments to.
Well, they loved to yank the ball when they were a power hitter. I mean, look, remember Chris Sabo? He was right on top of the plate. He pulled everything.
Yeah.
But I saw Pete Rose interviewed, and he talked about his frustration with hitters when he watches them a whole season long where they don't make adjustments while they're being pitched, like in the case of Jay Bruce, they're being pitched away, and they keep chopping it into the ground and not making an adjustment and going with the pitch. He just couldn't understand that. Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah.
You're paid to do it for a living.
Right.
Everybody's pitching you outside, and you're still pulling the ball.
Remember, the shift. All right, the Pirates are known for their heavy shift. I can remember years ago, the Royals had a guy named John Mayberry.
Yeah.
That's the first time I remember the shift. And I can remember the announcer saying, if he would just bunt the ball hard down the third baseline, he has a double. And he wouldn't. And we need our hitters to take advantage of the shift. I was reading an article.
It's going to happen
yesterday.
eventually. Somebody's going to do it, and it's going to start making it happen, and everybody's going to start doing it. That's why this stuff happens.
And that goes back to discipline. Be disciplined. I just wish we would have more players that could be that disciplined.
Well, the great players, I think, do make the adjustments.
Yes.
Because, they get a line on a hitter, right? Oh, the line on this guy is always hit him high and tight, or low and away, or off speed away. They have this line on them. And some guys adjust and still can hit 300, right? Other guys, they never adjust.
Yeah. Rotation. You said Homer's going to maybe you
I
thought
read
you
last
heard
night he's supposed to throw off the mound.
Where'd you read that?
today.
Probably on Bleacher Report.
And then DeSclafani, I heard he's been slowed by a couple more weeks from his
He's not
return.
coming back till June. I read
Probably
a couple
June.
weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's even maybe worse now. So, I mean, there's been like 9 guys make their major league debut, I think, with the Reds this year on the mound.
Past 2 years has been a lot.
It's been a lot. They got a ton of pitchers, and we see flashes of brilliance probably from all of them.
Every one of them's had at least one good out.
Not some of the guys they picked up off of waiver wire or whatever and brought in to fill holes. I'm not talking about Ross Ollendorf and guys like that. I mean, guys that have come up through the system, they've been grooming, and you see these moments of brilliance, but nobody. I mean, even Amir Garrett looked great, and then he got bombed. Of course, that happens to everybody.
Yep.
The key is how he comes back from that again.
This next game, yeah.
Is he pitching? Was he supposed to pitch today?
Who?
Or was
Arroyo.
he pitch again? Arroyo was supposed to go. Oh yeah.
Quick
There's
note.
a funny
If
thought.
they were playing
looking forward
today,
to that today.
If they were playing today, Cozart was in the 2-hole.
Really?
Mesoraco had a day off. It was good to see him back last night. Barnhart was hitting in the 8-hole. Peraza in the 7-hole.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So
that's good.
we had Hamilton, Cozart, Votto, Duvall, Suarez. I would like to see maybe a 4-5 switch, but you certainly understand
Well, it's common
keeping Duvall in the 4-hole.
Regardless of Mesoraco
Sure.
just coming back, it's common to give a catcher a day game off after a night game anyway. So.
I might switch Duvall and Suarez, though, right?
Where they have them.
You mean Suarez 4 and Duvall
Right.
5? I'm fine right now with the way both of them are playing overall. I think you don't lose much. What you gain quite a bit is Suarez has been hitting much better.
Yeah, and that'll make people pitch to Joey more often.
But maybe the idea is Suarez is protecting Duvall a little bit, try to get him going. Who knows what managers think? But I think right now, so the 4, 5, 6 is always a key spot, a key thing to think about, right? Is how you're going to produce guys are going to really be productive. Duvall, Suarez, Schebler, I don't know if all 3 of those guys could just be nice, good, solid players. They don't have to win MVPs. Mm-hmm. Every year, one of them's an all-star. Maybe 2 of them, has that great start.
Just solid
like
players.
Duvall did last year. Suarez, one of those guys can have a great first half and be an all-star and just be, you don't have to be Eric Davis. But you need to be what I'm trying to think of somebody. I mean Perez was a Hall of Famer, so that's
Brandon Phillips.
You need to be Brandon Phillips with more home runs. If you get 3 guys in the middle lineup like that in this day and age, you can win a lot of games. But part of their production and run production is it's not all under their control, right?
Somebody's got to be on
Somebody's
base.
got to be on base, and right now the top of the order is just not getting on base, except for Joey.
So
Joey's always going to get on base. The other guys, I don't know.
So I would say maybe
Cozart.
shift Cozart to lead off. Except the problem with that is he probably won't be with us.
Well, I don't
for
know.
the second half
I don't know
of the
what's
season.
going to happen with that. The way the good start made it feel that way. Now the way this is like maybe not. It's what are they going to get offered? He'll never be worth more than he is right now.
Yeah, I don't know who needs a shortstop right now.
So
now.
Well, right
All-Star
now.
break coming
All-Star
up.
break.
Someone injuries.
Somebody
Right.
breaks their leg.
Right.
So. All right. So we like to do a lot of trivia, or Kim does anyway.
We all do.
We all do, but he likes to throw out trivia questions. So we're going to have a Twitter account with this podcast. It's going to be called @3OldRedsFans. That's the number 3 Old Reds Fans. And by the way, I'm not the oldest one here, but
I'm not the oldest one here.
oh,
I am.
Oh, you are. Okay.
I just had the boyish good looks. We get confused
well,
with that.
actually, we all have a face for radio here. So. Anyway,
Very true.
or podcast, as the case may be, which is kind of like radio, right? So, Kim has a trivia question, and we have no fabulous prizes to give away, except bragging rights.
And we'll give you a shout out maybe.
We'll give you a shout out on the next, and we'll retweet your answer. So, whoever tweets at us with the answer first, and it can't be one of you guys, or me, will will be hailed the trivia master for the week, or however often we get to do this. We've been wanting to do this for a couple of weeks. We finally got a chance to do it. So however often we're able to do this, we're not promising regular every Saturday or Sunday or Monday or anything. Just now and then, whenever we can get together. And whoever does it will be declared the winner. There will be no prize except satisfaction of knowing the answer. So Kim, what is our first trivia question?
Let's go back in time.
Well, of course.
Let's go approximately 43 years ago.
Oh,
now,
you're giving hints. You're giving hints.
Approximately.
It's because he can't add.
Let's talk about the designated hitter, because we differ on the value of the designated hitter and the value of
bring me the DH in the National League, please.
But let's not try to digress here. Who
that's progressive.
Was the first National League designated hitter? We won't give you any hints. We talked about this before we went on the air, so to speak. Who was the first National League designated hitter?
That's a good one. It's a good trivia question.
It's a good one. I know the answer. Of course, I often do. However, you're getting a phone call. You can't answer that.
My mom.
It's your mom. Hey, Mom.
And you said no.
Say hi, Mom. No,
she's on the air.
You'll get back to her. Okay, guys. Any last any parting shots? Last thoughts?
We're not going to do a nickname or anything, Jeff.
Oh well. Yeah, I've been trying to come up with nicknames for all the Reds. We need a little more time. I haven't really, you can't force these things.
If the Reds are postponed today, you don't have to give your nickname today.
Oh, okay.
It's not a good thing you could tweet with us about. It's a good nickname for
a Reds. Good nickname for a Reds player.
Current Reds player.
Current Reds. Yeah, we're interested in that just because we have lives, but in some ways we don't have a life.
What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
I burnt the butter in the skillet while I was preparing for this podcast. I got distracted, and all of a sudden there was smoke in my kitchen.
But we digress.
Pizza.
Yes, I ate 4 leftover slices of Colonial. So
3 old Reds fans around the corner from Beans.
Yeah, we're around the corner from Beans, and sitting here trying to figure out how to end this thing. So. Any last thoughts?
Go Reds.
Go Reds.
Let's get the starting staff healthy. Let's get DeSclafani back. I'm not counting on anything on Homer Bailey. Let's get Brandon Finnegan back.
And maybe get him back while we're still in contention. Maybe still only 5 or 6 games out.
Yeah.
And let's see if we can't figure out Cody Reed.
Oh my.
Not feeling it.
I don't know. Give it time. Got to give it time.
Reed and Schebler. Who are you feeling it better?
Neither.
Who?
Haters.
Neither.
You're a hater.
Neither.
You're a hater. All right. With that, we will say goodbye for this first episode of the 3 Old Reds Fans podcast. And know this, that by the time we reconvene, Scott Schebler will be batting .275 and leading the National League in RBIs.
Wow.
No, he'll be leading the Reds. He might be leading the Reds in RBIs because he is tied for second.
Today is April 29, 2017. That's a bold step. That's a bold initiative.
That is.
He'll be
I like the vision.
his plus